Welcome to our global media talk show. Today is July 21st, 2024. Today we will be discussing about a very dangerous drug called Kush, how it impacts our youth and also the vulnerable populace. As we know, drugs is a problem in our country nowadays. We're seeing people killing themselves. Some are committing suicide, some are killing other people. They are committing various crimes. So it is really an issue that we need to address, a war against drugs to bring sanity in our youths and in general populace. So we have our guest here, Saffiya to Joof. Saffiya, to welcome to the show.
Okay.
Thank
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh once again. Thank you so much, Mr. Sawaneh. This is a big privilege for me to express my thoughts towards this issue, which is very alarming right now. That is entirely drug abuse. And, as young people, our voices are very important in this kind of topic. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And I have my co-host here, Ceesay, in Indiana, United States.
Yep. Thank you and welcome.
Welcome. Right. So let's jump right into it. It should be between 30 to 45 minutes discussion here. Saffiya, we wanna really get in depth in this. Why are we having this issue in the country? First, this course is very dangerous. We are seeing videos of it, even though we are not on the ground. But we've seen some people are there was a video that came out, somebody was putting a plier in somebody's tongue, and some people are trying to cut their own tongue. They're doing those things on their body. Some people are bending towards the car, like if they're gonna fall in front of the car, unconsciously. So it is taking a toll in our youth, and we have seen crimes going, above and in that we have never seen in the last decade. So this is a problem that the government has a responsibility to fight, and not only the government but us also as populace, and then as family members, and then as parents, brothers and sisters, we also need our role to try to fight against drugs in our country. So I just want you to give us a synopsis of what is going on with Kush in the Gambia, and how is it affecting the youth, and what are the recommendations, what are the things that you think would help us. We have the floor.
Okay. Thank you so much. Recently, we have seen an increased number. Sorry. I have to share the live, so it's crazy.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. We have seen currently what happened in the Gambia. About 11 people, I can say, have been numbered that has lost their life into this Kush called drug. Let's say into this drug called Kush. Of recent too, we have seen, I've seen a letter circulating from the Young Writers Association of the Gambia, written by a doctor who is calling upon government to declare Kush as a something that is going beyond all reasonable doubts. So for us to pay attention and see what we can do as a nation to come together and find ways to help it. It's very sad. We have a young, promising youths in the Gambia that I believe they have a great future. They have plans. They have aims and objectives to make it in life, but they've been succumbed by this drug called Kush, and it's not generating anything of essence, but rather than deaths, increased number of deaths. So that is a threat to us, and as a youth, we are concerned. and we want to send in a message of sensitization and see how best we can come together and fight this drug. Because many of our youths, majority are either drop out. So what can we do to such individual? What are the measures that governments can take to help them revitalize what they have actually lost? I can say they have lost hope in their future. And majority of them, when you asked why we want to go into this, the simple answer they will give you that they can be the first stress. There is no work. So it shows their eagerness to get themselves out of that situation. But due to addiction, it's a big problem for them to handle this issue for themselves. And again, there is a growing concern on the side of getting a space. I mean, space that whereas these young people can be rehabilitated. Okay. The centers we have, I think it's only Kampama we have so far. I don't see any other center that is on the side of helping young people to recover from this kind of drug abuse issues. The sensitization can be, on all angles, but then after all, if we don't call upon the government to do extra measures on it, it may go out of hands. Because it's not only about reporting and following up or going to arrest the people that are selling it. It's beyond that. I guess we need to go out. They need to, if they can even create a sort of group of youths, whereas they can fund them, go inside the villages, the towns, talk to people in the ghettos and everything. I've seen on TikTok a few number of youths that have initiated such thing. And I guess those type of people need to be helped. I mean, organizations, they need to be helped, and we see how best we can battle it out.
Very good. Yeah, before Sam comes, I think you mentioned something here. Like I said, we're going to be precise in this and then just get to the point. Organizing youths and funding them and let them talk to the youths. I think if Sam can agree, that should be a priority because they speak the same language, they can relate to them, and they can even give them examples, and stories, So
yes.
I think government
of people that have
people who have suffered over past, through this and who has this and this. So since they all hang out around the same area or they know each other, they grew up the same schools, they can relate, they like the same things. So sending, those youths inside as a task force, government don't even have to specify these are the people that we are sponsoring to do this. It could be like an undercover operation, who goes with who, and you sponsor them to get this goal accomplished and see how many youths at the end of the day or at the end of the particular month or week or or time, how many has really changed or what are the impact of what is working hard. So if somebody can monitor those results and then I kind of see if there's a trend that works, then I think resources should be allocated to that to make sure that, we see, desensitization. But you mentioned very important thing. Arresting, putting people behind the bars might not actually be the only solution, although it will deter the traffickers, it will deter the people who are responsible to bringing it in the country. But, the ones that are already there, in order to keep those resistance, against this drug, I mean, that's one operation. But I will let before we move to your another segment, let Sam come in if he has any comment or question, and then you can continue. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Saffiya. Thank you so much for what you just said. On the drug issue. This is very, very important. You've highlighted some important things, involving youth to really go out and sensitize people. I think that's very, very important. The other part that I want to add to that is, for the government can also use the radio and television stations and sensitize the general public by bringing subject matter experts on television to talk about drugs. When family is eating dinner or they're sitting in the evening watching TV, there is a program for our own GRTS. I think something important, people will watch that rather than watching something from Senegal. So bringing something to radio and television stations, especially television stations, if they have evening programs, let's say every Thursday, they bring experts in that will talk about these. That is one thing, sensitizing people so that heads of households, family members, men and women, can see the impact of drugs and see what is happening, because not everybody is listening to the radio. Not everybody is seeing all of it. There are some parents that are not even connected to the internet. They're not very good with smartphones and things like that. So putting something on television for them to watch and hear it being said in local languages, I think is going to be very impactful. It will benefit the people. That way, heads of households can start observing their own children and observe their behaviors, because when somebody's on drugs, their behavior changes. You will see physical signs on them about them that will tell you they are on something. So hopefully they can take steps. But the most important part that I want to say to this, or want to add to this, is, like we all know, prevention is better than cure, like we always say. Prevent the drugs from coming into the country. Number one, that will be eliminating the root cause of it. If we can just prevent it from entering our country, then the youth can't have it. So, and how do we prevent it from coming into a country? Well, from what has been said about drugs, I heard that this drug comes from Sierra Leone. So putting some action plans in place to secure every port of entry, meaning land, sea, air, every port of entry, from the airport to the seaports and to all of the other entry points from Senegal. Because if we start to enforce, I once said this in my WhatsApp audios too, if we start to enforce the civilians on drug trafficking at the airport, guess what? The dealers will divert and go to the roads. They will land in Senegal or try to come by a road and then enter Gambia through one of the backways, the small villages and towns that are bordered with Senegal, and there's access to get into the country.
Right.
In those places too, you will, even though right now we have, I don't know if we have that in every place, the port of entry, but I think for the most part, we do have that. You will see Gambia has a post at port of entry in some small villages or towns where people can drive from Senegal and get into the Gambia, or drive from Casamance, get into the Gambia, drive from anywhere that Gambia has a border with Senegal there. I think having drug enforcement officers there, just like how we have immigrations there, just like how we have the police entry there. If we have drug enforcement officers there, I think it's going to help. The other part is so that will help restrict the entrance of it. But most of the things should be done at the airport. A lot of things should be done at the airport, of course, to put proper enforcement. Anytime there are flights coming from Sierra Leone and other West African countries, put enforcement there to go through, to make sure that the bags are searched, to make sure that we do our due diligence to make sure we stop drug trafficking coming into our country. And one of those also is to have dogs in places like that. I once mentioned this, drug sniffing dogs are very important. Human beings cannot smell like how the dogs can smell. If we can have those dogs, not hard to get. All we have to do is really contact our through our embassies overseas. We can contact countries that are EU countries or even the United States. They can contact countries and say, we need your help. We need your help with trained drug enforcement dogs. drug sniffing dogs. And we can get those while we have the human beings out there. Dogs will be addition to that. They can have dogs on duty at the airport 24 hours a day. You bring one dog at 6 a.m. in the morning that is there till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Another one 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. Another one from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. Or they can do 12-hour shifts for the dog. Just even 2 dogs at the airport. One in the morning and from 7 to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then another one from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. the next morning. Be there with the custom officials and drug enforcement officers so that they can sniff every bag. Every time bags come in and flights land, the dogs will go to the carousel where the baggage claim and start sniffing every bag. They can go around and sniff bags, and when they sniff bags, dogs will be able to tell you if there's something suspicious in a bag. That way they can pull that person aside and then go search that bag while the dog continue to do their job. I think if we do that, we put that reinforcement at the airport, it will eliminate all the traffickers will know that if you go to Gambia Airport with drugs, they're going to catch you because now they have dogs, so they will try to go outside of the airport by either landing in Senegal or another country and go by road. And that same thing, if we have dogs with those people too, at the port of entry there to help them, I think if we can cut the drugs from coming inside the country, once we cut it from coming inside, then nobody can buy it because it's not available. You see, once something is out of stock, it's out of stock. Nobody can buy it. So nobody will be able to use it. I think that is a root cause to following the root cause and go through those checkpoints and stop them from entering will really help us while our government sensitize the public on televisions. And just like Saffiya said also, the youths out, fund the youths to go out in towns and different places and talk to their fellow youths about the danger they face when they use drugs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that, concentrating on the entrance point of the drugs in the country. Now, Saffiya, what else you think we can explore? I know you have known people who probably, friends or people in the Gambia, since you're on the ground, who had, suffered through this and who, whose life has been affected. Could you just give us a little background on that? And as we look into solutions, as we unfold this discussion.
Okay. You mean the people who are affected as families?
Yes.
Well, I haven't gone far on that part, because most of the families that are reported, that their parents, haven't been in touch with none of them. But based on the information that are on the ground, it's devastating and shocking at the same time. I believe as a society, there is an organization that is about to be launched. Because as youths, we also want to do our part, and to reach out to the family is another way of budgeting and planning to go and see them in person. Because I've watched one documentary online too, whereas some youths were speaking what they encounter when they take the drug and how they feel and all. So I believe there will be later part on that aspect. As the Young Writers Association vice president, currently we have a team that is working on a book publication on the side of Kush in specific. So they went in to talk to all the writers, young writers, designers, and the people that are into these graphic designs, and they create images for the book, and together with poems that they compile from different poets, and they put it in the book. So soon, I believe our secretary will come forward to announce it in the main page. So that is a good improvement in the perspective that we can so far participate. And I believe when the book is out, we can one way or two pledge for the books to reach out to the young people. Because in this issue of drug abuse, it's very, very good we look into the campaign management. How are we going to take it? Because the young people are in within those who are abusing the drug. And every day, one or two, you may see your brother smoking, and it inspired you. Out of curiosity, you also want to try and see how it tastes. And this is how the addiction will turn out to be, because the thing that you will try and think that, okay, it's not a big deal, it will create another thing into your system, and you want to go further again and try again, because the hala that it takes you, I mean, it transforms you from one hala to another. So that is a big focus that we have to do. Coming out as an organization, particularly on the side of my organization, that is Tansi organization, we are planning to embark on a trip. And this trip will consist of young people. And we believe that when they go back to their community, they would benefit something from the trip and, send the messages across. And we will use our social media handles, try to talk about the issue of the drug. I sense Kush issue, I can say 1 year ago, when I watched a documentary from Sierra Leone, and the community come out together to advocate the use of this drug. And I was really scared. I posted it on my page, and people were laughing. Some texted me, "Is this true?" I said yes. At the time, it's 1 year ago, I watched the documentary, because I guess the time that they released the documentary wasn't that long. And just compare it. Within a short period of time, 2024, bam, we are into it.
It's just like it was just like COVID. COVID was in China, and we were laughing at it. Look at these people wearing masks. And then the next thing it was here.
Yeah. So our co-panel had mentioned something really that I want to put an emphasis on it. That is, I guess Gambia have to work with Sierra Leone if needs to be, even with their Interpol and everything, control the border. Okay, people that are coming in and out, because the Kush is not made in the Gambia; it's made from somewhere, and they will smuggle it and put it and bring it into our country. So what government's supposed to do right now is to try and, if the needs be, go to Sierra Leone, talk with them, and see how the border checkpoint, when people are coming, they have to cooperate and work together. If not, we will always have problems, because the people that are selling it will continue to sell it. And if you are somebody who is addicted to it, you wouldn't want to report that individual to be arrested, because you're not going to get it anymore. So there is a big problem right now that I fear if we don't come together and see how best we can collaborate and fight it, it will be a big blow on our eyes. Again, another side is data collection. I wish the government could have done that. Send across people, young people who will go for survey, and look at the areas that are really affected right now. The youths where, the majority where they are right now, those that are affected hugely, areas, they try in, if needs to be, create a sensitization scheme. It could be conference or whatever. Gather those youths around and talk to them, explain to them what can Kush do into their life. So right now, I believe they're supposed to have launched a data collection scheme, whereas they can follow up. Latikunda, there are a majority of those youths who are into drug. We want to know how many of them are using Kush, or let's say any other drug that is harmful to them. We identify and know okay, where is the majority coming from? Then we can focus on that area. If Serekunda have the majority, then they can focus on Serekunda solely to treat it. Reach out to the youths, talk to them, face to face. And this may bring the data down, because if you knew that, okay, someone is smoking booze and the person is addicted to it and now doesn't know what to do, you can invite the individual to the hospital and you see how best we can treat it. I guess this will be a very good plan for us. That is from my suggestion. The other side is I've talked about the entry point. I've talked about the issue of the writer association right now, the solutions that they want to bring. And we really need support on that part to print the book out. But young people out there are working really hard to get these things together. Provide family support. If someone is affected, like you said, we haven't reached out to the family. Government should try and set up a body that can reach out to the family, talk to them individually as a family and see what is lacking there and see what measures that they can do or what can they bring to help that family. I mean, someone can be in your house affected with the drug. You don't get the money to buy the medications that will actually cure it on time or whatever. And the individual is just continuing to go and take it continuously. It's going to bring more problem into the family, because sometimes they act in a wild way, cutting. We have seen it on the video. One have to take off its own tongue. That's a crazy stuff. And sometimes the energy that they have is real. I witnessed one, whereas the man was flying over. I can't bear like how many of the people that are around him that grip him, but they cannot handle him because of the energy inside him. And he was so much shouting, disturbance. Everything was messed up around that end. And people later were running away because the energy in him, they couldn't control it. So it's sometimes crazy. They go to the house, disturb the parents, or even end up stabbing their own parents, or even the peace and stability is supposed to be in the house is a big problem. So what can we do as a nation? The first step is to set up a group of people who will handle this case of Kush alone. A team that will go out. Any family that is being mentioned, that is, they have outnumbered, okay, that they have outlined that, okay, this family is affected with Kush. They have to go, try and have a round table with them, see how best they can support that family.
Right.
I think this would have been something very, very beautiful for us to do. Because remember, campaign goes with money. You cannot just go out there, want to go into every house, talk to them and all that if you don't get the means,
right?
If you don't get the money. And right now we are in the rainy season. So all those things you need to put it in place. So I guess government is the one that's supposed to try and come and find solutions towards it. Because what that nurse have wrote in that paper, like the number of patients that he's seen is crazy in this small country. So in the next 1 year, how will this society be like? We don't want to be like Jamaica. Sorry for my word. Jamaica cannot be angry with me, but that's the thing. You go to an extent, you cannot go out at night. Before at Westfield, I would walk down, do whatever I want to do up till late night. But now I cannot do it because I'm afraid I'll be attacked.
Yeah.
When you have your property at hand, you go outside. It could be a mobile or a bag or whatever. Just at the garage center where you will wait for one taxi or another, somebody can come and grab your things, properties, and go. We have seen it in Ceesay. Drug abuse creates a lot of issues into the human mind. It makes you do things that you don't even imagine. Right. And after when you are done with everything is out of your body, you got to see the results of what you have did. You tend to ask yourself, is this really me? Right. So this is something that we need to know how to go about it. I can stop here in
so it's good. It's good that you really put it on that. So we have a couple of solutions. First is to come up with the book that will sensitize, that association is working on. And then so the operation task force that will be youth and sponsored by the government, or maybe by the government and other organizations, non-profit organizations, might also chip in some money there. And then with border security and collaboration with, like Sam mentioned, collaborating with other nations, especially Sierra Leone and others, to make sure that everybody, they have a joint maybe a joint federation or whatever, fight against coups kind of thing going on, and everybody's securing their borders and looking to see how the coups come to the Gambia. So I think the government would can actually exploit that, and then also have a roundtable discussion with the families and see how to support them, how to handle people who are affected. Because like I said, the violence, the violence is very, very prominent, and some people might kill their family members they have issue with, or perhaps do some harm. So with all of that said, what else is it that can help this situation that we haven't touched? Sam, if you can think of anything or Saffiya too, then we can add to this list. But these are really good suggestions. I think our viewers will really benefit from this, and then perhaps the government also and civil society organizations who really care for this particular drugs, especially drugs in general, but especially coups. Yeah. So is there anything else that you think we haven't really touched before we wrap it up?
No, I think she said it all. She said quite a bit in this, and she really laid down some of the solutions to the problem. And I totally agree. Sensitizing people, using all of that, using the youth to do it. At the same time, I want to reemphasize the importance of stopping it from coming into the country in the first place. I think if you tackle the root cause, then the root cause, you kill the root cause, then it's not going to come to the country. And that is by stopping it from entering our country, by reinforcing all the borders and all ports of entry. If we reinforce it there and then stop it from coming into the country, at some point, whatever is already in the country, while the youths and the government are sensitizing people, will run out. If it runs out, you can't get any more. They can't use it. If you can't have it, you can't. I mean, it's just like water. If you run out of water, you can't have any water to drink. Well, you're not going to drink. That's what it is. You're not going to drink. So if you cut down the source, so it doesn't even enter our country, hopefully that reinforcement will not only reinforce the entry of Kush, but all the other drugs, cocaine and any other drug. If you put the reinforcement out at the airport, in seaports, plus all ports of entry, with dogs there to help sniff and identify which luggage or bag or box has drugs in it, confiscate all of that, you stop them from coming. That's it. You stop them from entering the country, and then we won't have to worry about youths using it, because they can't have it. There's no seller. There's nobody that can get into that business, because we stop them from every port of entry and confiscate the drug and not allow it to get into our country. If we do that, then I think we'll be much safer, and I think that's the solution to the problem as well.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
One thing that I also would like to add, Saffiya, before you come in, and then so we can wrap it up. Those who are affected, the treatment. I know, does it have to be, do they have to have a therapy? Do they have to be given medication? Do they have to be isolated? And how effective is the treatment? Can they get out of it? Have you seen anything like that?
Okay, I've seen about 3 people that were affected with coups, and the treatment was very effective for them. But parents have to help in that process. The doctors can be there, ready to help, give their all, and the halat that the, let's say, the youthful man will be sometimes is very crazy and aggressive. But the parents, a little bit of slacking in terms of taking the drugs normally, because remember, it's been affected by Kush, so there's a way that they do the routine of giving the drugs to that individual. So if you missed certain things, a certain time of taking the drug, it can trigger something else. So parents sometimes that's the aspect I see like a problem a little bit for them to cooperate with the child, because I understand the behavior sometimes can be annoying and they will not be happy with it. But and also society, the stigmatization that so passing son is going through this, sometimes is crazy. So we need to raise awareness in the sense that when we see a family that is affected, we all come together to show solidarity to the individual. But don't say, okay, that parent left the child, like that, barely cared for the child and all that. Every parent wants to make sure that your child has a successful end. You don't pray tomorrow to have kids and then find out that they're into drugs and other stuffs. Nobody pray for that. So sometimes you could see an imam who had a son and he become the killer in the area. I mean, the bandy or whatever around that end, and people wouldn't believe it. So sometimes we, as a society, play a great role into certain things that are happening to other people's, let's say, children. So part of it, I'm urging the public that if they find out any family member that is going through this, they should come together and help that individual to recover from it. Because it can happen to anybody. Some things are there. We as young people, we are very curious. Whatever we see, we want to test it. We want to see how it feels.
Peer influence, they call it.
So peer influence sometimes can lead an individual to do certain things that is not in accordance. So there's one thing that we need to look at. I want to add on to that, again, on the side of testing strip. I guess Gambia wouldn't have that kind of maybe funds to have it done on time and all that, but maybe they could put it part of their plan.
Like testing
if we get, yes, testing strips, that if we get this thing, testing strips, like today, when it comes to the issue of early pregnancy and all that, we have make the test very, very easy. Yes, people access it anyhow, and if you see that, okay, your cycle has changed and all that, you can even do it for yourself. I guess we need to have people get access to these test strips, whereas when a child, let's say when a student or a youth suspected something, that you have been using a certain kind of a drug that you knew it's not good for yourself, and you have get to a stage where it's getting in a what stage, you can go on to get the test strip, test yourself and see how best you can go back to the doctor and complain to them, at least that you have seen that you cannot leave this thing and it is disturbing you. I think all these things, therefore, basic sensitization. If we raise more awareness, get these things on board, it can reduce, okay, this Kush issue or any other drug that is affecting us as youth. The last one I want to talk about is on the side of, our National Assembly right now. We were busy on other things like FGM and all that, okay? To me, I'm not saying it's not important, but we have an economic issue.
It's not the most pressing issue in our lives now. It's important, but it's not.
I'm saying we have an alarming issue right now, and it's about our youth. Why not we try and allocate a bill, okay, a bill that organization could be supported, those people that are out there sacrificing everything to advocate for cause, they try and allocate something for those organizations. Right now at the assembly, they can debate it. Exactly. As a bill, that they can debate on and bring in something that they can pump out there, because the cause is getting into another stage. It's something that we need to focus on and look up ways to do it. I'll be very happy anyways. If I see that at the National Assembly being discussed at a greater level, okay? Again, addressing the whole situation altogether is sensitization. Let's try and accommodate each other. Let's not see it as something that when it happens to a family, that family is not taking care of their child or children or whatever. But it's a growing thing. It could be peer influence. It could be anything that will put you into that kind of stuff. I sat in Senegambia and I saw some things that were mind blowing for me. And the next minute is my own, colleague that was sitting with me could have sensed it on my face that I wasn't happy. And one side of it is this Ceesay that people are smoking every day. And we think like it's so normal. And once you smoke it at a certain point, you get to feel like you're no more the same the way you are, because your body will be dizzy, heavy. And did our young people understand what Ceesay can do into your body? Okay, they said it has no side effect. It does, because it takes you from somewhere to another. And we are taking it normal. We are taking it every day, and it's something that I cannot get it. The last time I did a research on it, even some countries, Arab countries, have banned it because they see that later on the rise of like people getting heart attack, and sort of it was becoming something else, and they decided to ban it. But in Gambia, every day I'm seeing that Ceesay is growing, and our young people are smoking it. Now, here against 10 years, what will happen to those people that are taking it every day? And they think like it's no. So this is another thing that we need to talk about. To me, they are all, you see hated drug, like, because I'm like out of some normal behavior to another thing. Because happiness, we make a CEO, it's not normal. It's something. We're talking about food, right. And we're taking Ceesay.
Yeah. So in other words, there are certain drugs, I mean, we call, they're not called drugs, but these other drugs that, can take you to another level of feelings that can be harmful, medically to individuals, and people are just allowing it because
and the addiction, the ground. So like if you're taking it, you're used to it, then call it every time. Just you cannot sit without you cannot sit without smoking it.
Yeah. It's just like smoking cigarette or other things. Yeah. I think again, these areas will should be touched too. As we touch on cools and other addictive substance that will cause harm to humanity should also be sensitized and perhaps be banned or kind of like limited, because it will affect the health of other people in the long run. So
I want to add on something. Why not government try and also legislate something into the law of the Gambia, whereas any agent that they have caught selling drugs that are harmful to the society, to the youths, they'll be given heavy sentence. Because remember, this course is brought by some agents, okay? And they're selling it in the country. Last time we have seen at the airport, whereas somebody was planning to go to Spain.
Right. With of gloves, yeah.
Yes, he put in the body everything with cocaine and whatever. So what I'm saying, why not we try and put in a law that anybody that is found selling any sort of a drug that is detrimental to the health of the people, or it will take you to a stage of addiction and get you out of your normal sense, you'll be prosecuted. And once prosecuted, don't give the individual 5 years jail time. Give the individual 10 years to 20 years jail time. Because if you leave the kind of person into the society, what are you trying to promote?
Yeah.
You cannot hold somebody with marijuana, one bag, and you just give him 1 month, 2 month sentence.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Because that one bag, how many stick can they make out of it and give it to somebody to smoke? And the more you smoke, the more you get deteriorated in terms of health and everything.
Yeah.
Even with the marijuana, okay, they debate it. Some are saying it's good for the body, and some believe that it's a medicine. Yes, it is medicine at some extent.
It has medical
but you're
parts.
supposed to, yes, medical importance, but you don't have to abuse it because the law didn't allow you to sell it. Then you cannot engage into that kind of a business. So all these are things that we need to look into.
Thank you. Thank you. I think to summarize, I mean, or to sum up everything before Sam comes in, is that the drugs, situation in the Gambia need National Assembly to come up with legislations. And then, of course, let these legislations be implemented and punishable by the government, because by the law enforcement, because if not, the harm would be greater in the long run. So I think that's the discussion that we are having here, and not only limiting to Kush, but other substances that could take you out of your normal sense and then causing you more harm health-wise. That is out there, seems legal, but is causing people problems. So this is this message, we have here from this discussion, and I think the government or people in charge, in National Assembly should look into this. And I think this would be something that Sam, we can relate to these National Assembly members and see if they can have a private member bill or whatever. But they need to look at the drugs, situation and trying to, like Saffiya was suggesting, trying to do something with legislation and make it punishable. I think that's something that we get from our discussion here. My other concern is, those who are treated. I'm not sure, the treatment, does it get them out of addiction, or does it take them temporarily treat them, or is there a therapy that could be applied so that these people will never come back, or or is this a temporary fix? Because those are already affected, we need to fix them, otherwise they might end up, consuming it more, going looking for it or looking for something else, try to, get that pleasure. And, that would be a problem. We can try to stop.
The treatment is never easy because it's about addiction. But I believe also if we engage the youths, try to see what the individual is lacking, in the sense, maybe a job sort of, you attach the person there to be busy, and that can change something. That can change something in the individual.
Okay,
if you left the individual like that,
it's a long time. It's a long time work.
The long term.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a long time work. You'll be into the treatment system while going to busy yourself with something else. Yeah. I think that also could help.
I suggest, in the US here or other places, what the government should do is create a center or something, or a shelter or something, and have case workers who will be working on this for a couple of years, trying to see how they are doing, and then, supporting them. And gradually, like a case worker, dedicated case worker, like let's say Sam is a case worker, he's the Mr. X, is having this problem. Sam will be visiting, this person, and then, trying to see what they need in life, how they can focus their attention. So these case workers will be working on these people affected to try to, focus their attention on jobs or other things, and trying to educate them at the same time, because they are already addicted. So even if you stop the drugs coming, they could be, as long as they're walking on their 2 feet and they have hands to grab stuff, they can go out there and find a way or kind of supplement to be in that state, because that state of feeling is what they like to be at. So it is a whole, a whole operation and long term, It's like just like somebody has a mental problem. You have to have a long-term plan to get them back to the normal self. So it will take time. So I think this is I'm glad that you mentioned that the fix is not easy, but I think the government should look into that, and then it needs funding, like you said. But I will allow Sam to come so we wrap it up. And then Saffiya, you can do your final words. Yeah, Sam, go ahead. You are muted. Go ahead.
Yep. So yeah, I think from the conversations between the three of us, we've covered quite a bit here. Getting the National Assembly involved is another important aspect of it. I know that there is already a drug law in the country, so the National Assembly going into it will just have to modify, bring it up, and then look at it, what it doesn't cover, and then add that there. Amend it, or be an amendment to the drug policy. If they amend it and add Kush and anything else, sometimes you can use a language that covers everything. If you only use a certain language and talk about certain individual things, and then that makes you skip the others. So adding a language that will be inclusive for every kind of drug, anything that's a substance that people can use and abuse them, add it and amend that to the bill. I think it would be a great idea. I know that Gambia, we talk about so many things, but implementing it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So getting them to just reinforce the drug policy or send them reinforcement, get some reinforcement at the airport and seaport and all port of entry. I think that will be one thing that is going to be effective and stop the drug from coming into the country. And then we add the other stuff to it, all the things that she said and all the things that you said. We add components that are internal that we can do within our society, youth activities involving the youth, radio and television sensitization, having programs on television that families can watch about drugs, I think, right, and show the impacts of drugs. And also go down to that wire by telling them how many people were killed. Let family members see that how many people lost their lives. Invite some of those people's family to come to radio or the television and have them talk about it, and that they will let them talk about how sad they are to lose a loved one, how sad that it is, how terrible of an incident they went through, and how much impact it has on the family. Have people talk about it. When that emotions get into the program, I think all families is going to relate themselves to that and say, I don't want my family member to be in part of this. I don't want any family member to do anything with Kush, because he is a family that lost a good person, because of this drug. So let's avoid using it. So I think all aspects that we talked about will all be very helpful, and they will all gear towards the solution of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Final words, Saffiya.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sawaneh and Sam, for inviting me over to talk on this issue. I guess we have touched on the side of the main issue and bring in suggested solutions that we believe, if the government of the Gambia listening to us, or anybody that is out there listening to us, will learn something from it, and we see how best we can come together as a society and rescue our people. Thank you so much for having me, and we call it another day. Ciao.
Thank you. And also those who are watching, please share and then get this information to use, because it is really, really, really important. Saffiya has really come up with many solutions, and Sam has contributed a lot on border security. And again, sensitization, especially using the youths, is the word of the day. Thank you so much, Saffiya, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Right.
Yep.
Have a good one. Catch up later. Take care.
Yeah.